like you had stated, it's the idea of the ability to space out your closings a little bit, the convenience factor of it all. And a lot of home sellers want to get their current home somewhat up to speed for a good sale and get the most out of their sale. So instead of having to rush the sale of a home to get into another one, it spaces that time out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jack and Terry Show. Our special guest today is Tim Hahn. He is a mortgage banker and loan officer at German American Bank in the Elizabethtown branch. Tim, it's good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
And of course, I'm with my co-host, Jack Konecki, the granddaddy of all small businesses in Radcliffe. Jack, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Terry. Good to see you, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Now, Jack, we're going to talk today about bridge loans. I know that doesn't sound very sexy to a lot of people, but it's an excellent product for people in the market to sell their house and buy another house. And we have an expert from German American Bank on here today to tell us more about it. I know you've had some experience with bridge loans, but I won't ask you to tell that story again. But if you had to recommend a bridge loan to somebody with the knowledge you have about it, you probably would. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. You know, you said it wasn't very sexy, but nothing is until you need it. Once you need it, it starts looking pretty good.
Or it becomes sexy. And it's good to know about it a little bit in advance. And that's why we invited Tim on today. Tim, if you had to describe, rather than go into too much detail right off the top here about the bridge loan, how would you describe the typical customer for a bridge loan at your institution?
Bridge loans are great for those that are carrying a good amount of equity in their current primary residence and may want to or need to buy before they sell. So a bridge loan enables that specific home buyer to, in essence, extract equity from their current property and utilize that equity for the new purchase prior to actually selling that current home. Right. So you're moving money around, for instance, but it enables you to, again, buy before selling.
I think another thing you mentioned earlier, we talked about this, is that sometimes the convenience of a bridge loan is one of the things that attracts people to it. They don't want to necessarily be in a situation where they have to simultaneously sell a house and move to a new house. Gives them that buffer zone, because it's virtually impossible, not impossible, but virtually impossible to make everything happen at exactly the same time. My experience has been that's very unlikely to happen. So the bridge loan gives you that space to do that. And I'm sure some of your customers come at you for this product because of the convenience of it. Now, we look at the market right now. Well, let's look at the market that was crazy, about a year ago. We saw a lot more bridge loans, I think, because of the interest rates were lower and the market was a little bit lean on inventory. But what are you seeing now in terms of the demand for the product?
We're still seeing a good incidence of those that are interested in activating for a bridge loan. You know, again, like you had stated, it's the idea of the ability to space out your closings a little bit, the convenience factor of it all. And a lot of home sellers want to get their current home somewhat up to speed for a good sale and get the most out of their sale. So instead of having to rush the sale of a home to get into another one, it spaces that time out. And when you've got a 12-month window to be able to do so after that bridge loan closes, the bridge loan is a 12-month loan, you have plenty of time to do one before the other and not take on any additional debt than what you currently stand on.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was one of the questions I was going to ask was about how long of a period of time what's the term of a bridge loan? Because some people, when you talk to them about a bridge loan, their fear is, what if the house I'm moving from doesn't sell? 12 months is a long time. And in a good market, everything's going to sell. But that was one of the reservations that I remember I had a customer. It was during the peak of all this confusion we had. Did that, and that was one of their fears. What happens if it doesn't sell? Everything eventually sells. It's just a matter of getting it priced a little bit lower if you have to. That's been my experience. What are some of the process so if a person is interested in a bridge loan, they hear about this, they see the advantage of doing it, they like the convenience, they wonder how it works. What's the process for a customer to actually get started with a bridge loan?
Bridge loan application and process is very much like the application for a home equity line of credit. If anybody's ever done a home equity line of credit, it's almost an exact replica of one. You're paying off the current first mortgage and extracting the remaining equity out in a cash payout to yourself. That bridge loan can be up to 90% of the appraised value of the property, of your current property. From there, then you're taking those funds, using it towards down payment, and then you're making payments on that initial balance for that 12-month period in interest-only payments until you sell the home. Sure. So the idea there is getting the funds available for the new home, and putting that down on the new property, and then still having the remaining balance due. The application process is really just verification of income and credit scoring, so a credit report. And many times the appraisal process is just an automated valuation model. For those that don't like to use the 3-letter terms AVM, that's just a computer-based appraisal. So that computer-based appraisal comes back to us same day. And in essence, you can have a bridge loan that closes in 2 weeks. We usually, we try to say 3 weeks just to give that additional time in case there's a title issue or what have you. But we're usually seeing about 10 to 12 business days from application to a closing. One thing that we do need to keep in mind, just like refinances, a bridge loan does have a 3-day rescission period attached to it. So if you close on a Tuesday, those funds aren't available to you until that Friday.
Right.
So that's a part of a timing process as well. If you're looking to, a lot of people will put a 30-day contract and then say, well, I need a bridge loan. And then you're kind of forcing a lot of stuff down the throat, but it can happen. We just did one last week.
Right, exactly. Most lenders during the interview process, asking for a person's story about what their situation is, would identify that they have a house they need to sell and that they're trying to purchase another house. And then if they disclose all that information, then again, though, even though it's disclosed, they might not realize the advantage of it. And like you said, get 3 or 4 weeks into the deal and try to get it done. So the process, though, is basically the same process you would have with any loan. The 2-day revision, though, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Even real estate agents, we've been into closings where the 2-day revision rule kicks in, but everybody's standing at the closing table waiting to get the funds distributed. And then everybody's shocked when the lender says, oh, wait a second here. They could back out of this deal if they wanted to, which they never do, but that is built into as a safeguard for consumers. What, have you ever run into a surprise with that, Tim, where somebody was shocked at the last minute?
I have never, I mean, you talk about it all the time. It's just one of those disclosure pieces that you do in any type of non-purchase transaction.
Right.
And you say, hey, there's a 3-day rescission period. You sign on date X, and 3 days later, it actually goes into effect. So you have 3 days to cancel the entirety of the transaction. Like, well, why would I go through all this? If
exactly. The seller is usually the one that got chapped because they're thinking, why did I get my proceeds on this day? And the agent, maybe me, forgot to tell them that there's a 3-day rescission here. You won't get paid on the day of the closing. And then, of course, they wonder, is this some kind of trick? Am I going to
Right,
not
of
get paid
course.
at all?
Of course.
There's always, it's an interesting business because you're dealing with people and you're dealing with probably the most important thing they're going to do other than have children is to purchase a house. And it's complicated at times, or at least it seems that way. But then they run into folks like you make it simple. You're in an institution where there's a good process to get things done. And that's what people respect, is a good, smooth process, staying informed. But there's so many tools these days to keep people informed. And I know that over there where you are and where you were before, great tools to keep people informed of the process. Well, Tim, I want to leave you with the last word. I know you have some interesting things about some incentive programs that you have over there, German American Bank. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? We'll give you the last word, but I want to thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Terry. Yeah, in addition to the bridge loans we talked about, something that I've been relaying to real estate agents around the county here, we've got a couple of first-time home buyer grant opportunities that are really taking off. Huge head of steam. Our community home loan program is a 30-year fixed rate in-house program that is as little as 3% down, no monthly mortgage insurance, and it also includes a $2,500 grant paid directly by German American, and that can go towards down payment or closing costs. You can also tie in the Indiana HOP, which is the Home Ownership Opportunity Program. And because our headquarters is in Southern Indiana, we are in effect tied to the banking entity in Indianapolis that offers this program. But due to our footprint being in both Indiana and Kentucky, we can offer to our Kentucky customers. So that is a $10,000 first-time home buyer grant that can go towards down payment or closing costs. I've actually got 2 loans in process right now where we've got $12,500 towards down payment and closing costs in grant format. It's not a second lien. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Now that's strictly for the first-time home buyer.
It is first-time home buyer.
Are there some price range restrictions on this?
You still have to keep it within, the guidelines of general mortgage financing. So most loan programs will be anywhere from 43 to 50% debt to income ratio. Okay. So there is some debt and income requirements, but based on current rates and what debts a customer may be carrying, 200K. So sale prices below a 200K is pretty attainable.
It is in the market.
There could be some situations where you could get a little above that, but 200K is a pretty safe number. If it's there or below, then these programs will usually help.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that up. I saw that brochure, but I didn't realize it was that lucrative. This is an exceptional program for first-time home buyers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm screaming from the mountaintops about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that good.
People need to know about it. We'll do what we can to help you scream about it.
Well, thank you, sir.
Folks, that was Tim Hahn. He is a mortgage broker and loan officer at German American Bank, Elizabethtown branch. He's doing a great job over there and also has some very, very interesting and lucrative incentives for first-time home buyers and the $200,000 and less, roughly in the $200,000 purchase price and less. And if anybody out there is interested in buying a house right now, if you're a first-time home buyer, it's kind of hard to come across somebody that's willing to give you that much money as a grant. I don't think you have to repay it. It's a grant. So it's an awesome program. Tim, thanks again. Really appreciate your info.
You bet. Thank you all.
Jack, it was good seeing you, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Good to see you, Terry. Thank you a lot, Tim. Good to have you on.
Yes, sir. Thank you as well.